You got it to work
Yeah.
is a miracle because it used to play even worse. It used to really just dig deep into the earth for the worst, oldest cards you've ever seen.
Hi, and welcome into the Cryptic Keep. My name is Austin.
I'm Siobhan.
Siobhan, when you think of our format,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel about the one-drop creatures?
I hate them.
You hate them? They're getting good.
They're
right?
getting really good.
We got some all-stars, oldies like Curd Ape and Wildnet Cattle.
Yeah.
But like when you think of like how many stats you can get for like 1 mana, usually
Three,
right? Like Moon Shadow, you got like the Nethergoyf.
Mm-hmm.
Or you're getting like a 1 mana 2/1 with upside.
Yeah.
Right? I think I'm pretty happy with 1 mana 3 power creature, right?
1 mana 3 among power and or toughness.
Right.
Cameo's a 0/3, a 2/1.
Okay.
A 1/2, very common now.
Dragon Rage Channeler is like,
yeah,
you have like some conditional ones that can get to 3 or 4, right?
By that I mean like I would call Dragon Rage Channeler like a 6. Like it's some power and
between
toughness.
the two. Okay. Mm-hmm. I see. So like 3 with upside or potential to grow.
Potential to grow, absolutely.
You could even look at like what's the Oslet Pride? You know, you could see it amongst different creatures. Well, create 2 and 2 and 2 and 2. What do you think about 24?
Another phone number, maybe?
Phyrexian Dreadnought. All right. I know that the one drops are getting better. This is still like an all-star from the back in the day. Phyrexian Dreadnought, 1 mana artifact creature, a 12/12 with trample, no other abilities. Has an ETB effect that you have to sacrifice it or all your creatures up to power 12.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a downside, right?
A little.
But in Legacy, they have like a on again, off again deck where they will just stifle the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
So play Phyrexian Dreadnought, you have the ETB go on the stack, you cast Stifle, you counter the activated ability, and at the end you have this 12/12 with trample.
Yeah.
Right? It's always been like a underdog story of any tournament. Like people are always like wanting this deck to win. It never does, but
Stiflenought is awesome.
Stiflenought is awesome. It feels good. It
taps into the Magic player's deep-seated desire to play things so uncosted that you're just like cheating. It feels like cheating. When you get a Phyrexian Dreadnought in play on turn 2 and you swing for 12, it's so good. Nothing quite like it. Except maybe a Berserk.
Berserk with this.
Berserk with this?
We might be onto something. So I want to talk about 2 things because I baited a Stiflenought deck in Canadian Highlander.
Right.
And I want to talk about consistency. So if you have these 2 cards in your deck, when are you going to draw them? Right? Like if you have a Stifle, it's all right. If you have a Phyrexian Dreadnought, it's not that good. But together they're like super powerful. Yeah. Almost like a combo deck where you have an A side and a B side. Mm-hmm. And the 2 main ways to get consistency out of that is through tutors or redundancy. And by redundancy, I mean you play multiple versions of the card in your deck that are the same card.
And the issue with something like Phyrexian Dreadnought is in a singleton format, there's only one Phyrexian Dreadnought.
There's only one. And there's a lot of stifles.
So
I think this is a good example of that.
Right.
I just wanted one caveat. There is 2 other ways to like add consistency, and that's just like they're kind of like the hard mode, like manual way of doing it, but that's like card selection with like cantrips and then just a lot of card draw. Those are 2 other ways to do it. But when you have 100 cards, and one of each of those cards, you know, scrying 2 is not getting you there as much as it would in a 60 card deck where you have 4 of these.
Absolutely.
So in a 100 card singleton, tutors and redundancy are main ways of doing it, and there's a couple other ways, but this is how you like add the consistency to your deck. So the pros of having tutors, all right? I know that you're going to be a little bit on the tutor side, and I'm going to be a little bit on the redundant side in terms of like preference. Mm-hmm. Let me know if I'm like straw manning this at all with tutors, but I think that one of the benefits of playing tutors is you get to play the best cards. Like
for sure.
When you tutor a card, and let's say you pay 2 mana to tutor 1 drop, you have the best 1 drop ever printed. That
You get
to
the
do.
one.
And you get the experience of playing the best cards, which is really, really cool. You also have a pretty clear game plan. Like, you have like a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
You have these tutors that all lead into this function that is powerful, really, really powerful, right? And then because of that, you have a lot of consistency. You're always getting to these cards eventually because you have tutors in your deck.
You get to consistently see the thing.
The thing.
The thing.
Yep. And then we talked about this earlier in our package video, but like you get these type A tech packages.
Yeah, sometimes you don't get the thing. You get this other thing that is just as good in this circumstance.
Exactly. And with that, you can kind of do more with less cards, like physically cards in your deck. Like you only need, let's say, 1 removal spell, and you have all these tutors to find that 1 removal spell, or you have...
Or this one way to kill someone, and then all these ways to get to there. Yeah.
For redundancy, like, you're very resilient. Like, what's nice is if my best card gets exiled, I'll just play the next best thing. That gets exiled, I'll play the next best thing. So it's really hard to attack. It also has a really high floor redundancy because all these tutors do absolutely nothing against specific cards.
The downside of Demonic Tutor is that it really just is 1 in a black draw card.
Yep.
But that card is the one you want.
And if they have a card that says, like, you can't search your library or you only can search the top 4, like, the
Congrats,
floor is
sweetheart.
really, really low.
Yeah.
You also have an adaptive game plan, so you have, like, different avenues to win. I kind of, like, said tutors are kind of, like, coming into a core thing. Like, the redundancy is you're kind of coming out. Like, I don't... Like, how do you attack my deck? Because I don't know how I'm going to win.
Sure.
You know?
There's also just the level that you're not solely reliant on a single card or like 3 specific cards.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if this 1 Savannah Lion dies. I have another.
Yes.
And another. And another.
Or different card types. So, like, you might have, like, a very specific answer to artifacts, right? And the Time Vault deck is, like, kind of folds this Collector Roof. But if you're playing, like, an artifact mid-range deck, like, you have more adaption, right? You can attack with your constructs and, like, it's...
Great Collector if you get a block.
And then, this is a big asterisk, but redundancy is more efficient usually.
Right.
You said 2 mana draw a card is Demonic Tutor a lot of times.
But that doesn't let you play the card, right? It just gets you there. And then you also have to pay that cost. So Green Sun Zenith is always 1 more than any green creature in your deck. It's always, or Finale of Devastation, at least 2 more than any creature in your deck.
In most strategies, there is a alternative to their card that is maybe not as good, but is more efficient. So if you pay 2 mana to tutor out your best 1-drop creature, well, compare that to any 3-drop creature, right? And you're probably going to take the 3-drop in terms of efficiency with your mana.
Right.
Or some tutors go to the top of your library, so you're like
you're also delaying yourself by a turn. Yeah.
So I thought this was a good example for this Stiflenought deck because it was very clear that I needed to use a lot of tutors for Phyrexian Dreadnought. And I decided to use a lot of redundancy for these stifle effects.
For sure.
And I want to kind of talk about how I built that using these 2 concepts. All right. Okay. So let's talk about stifle. Stifle counters a activator triggered ability. I really just care about the triggered ability for the enters the battlefield effect. So there are several different cards, especially if I want to go to 2 mana, that do this. And some of them even have like an extra ability where they counter a specific type of spell, or they have split second, or they have web slinging. Like,
Consigned to Memory is a great example of this.
Sometimes you're countering a One Ring, right?
The One Ring, or some big Eldrazi.
Yeah.
Feels good to like actually do what you're trying to do with a Consigned to Memory.
Another thing is, like, when you're trying to find consistency in your redundancy in your deck, you got to look at like what it does, not necessarily what the actual words on the card are. When you're scry searching, for sure. Like, these cards are redundant pieces to that that stifle, right? They prevent an enter the battlefield trigger from happening. And they also come in like the 2 mana range. They also come with a body. They might have like some extra things that they do as well.
Yep.
Lifelink, sure. Take
Flying.
it. Flash.
Fantastic.
And then, like, there's very interesting, weird cards that work with this. Like, if I play Dress Down and the creatures have no abilities,
Right.
that's a way of bypassing that Jurors of Battlefield trigger.
I think I got you on Slip Out the Back, because Phase Out.
Yep.
It's still like in play, but it's removed from play, and so this trigger's there, but it just phases out, and you can elect not to
you
pay
can't
it.
sacrifice anything,
Yeah.
because it's phased out. Talon Gates, you get to phase out as well. Mycosynth Gardens allows you to copy it while it's on the stack.
Do a bootleg Dark Depths. This Mycosynth Garden is my Phyrexian Dreadnought is going to die.
Exactly,
yeah.
right? Shifting Woodlands, like if something's already on the field and you make a copy of it in the graveyard, that's a way of never having it enter the battlefield. Same
right.
likeness looter.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of redundant cards. Like if the bottom I look at like the best, second best, third best, fourth best card, and the height I say kind of like the power level of that or the efficiency, they're pretty close to all the same. Like a lot of times I can say I'd rather have a Dress Down in this part of the game, this matchup. I'd rather have this creature. I'd rather have Mycosynth. Like I can have like this argument for all these different cards being better than Stifle in this specific scenario.
Mm-hmm.
That means to me that I have a good amount of redundancy and I don't need to use tutors to find Stifle.
Okay.
I hate tutoring. Like I don't know what to tell you. Like I have a preference for redundancy, so I will prefer to try to get redundancy, and then if I can't is when I will get.
The other very mechanical benefit to redundancy is just shuffling.
Yeah.
Like there is the mechanical reality that is tutoring in 100 card singleton, you're shuffling. And if you can just draw those cards, if you can just expect to potentially see within the next 4 cards one of these halves of your combo or synergy, you don't have to force a shuffle in any way.
Shuffling is not fun.
Some would say otherwise.
So okay. So let's talk about Phyrexian Dreadnought. All right. So I went deep trying to find cards that are like Phyrexian Dreadnought.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you what. There's only one Phyrexian Dreadnought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you shout out to the little guy in the bottom right art shooting a gun at this thing?
Oh my goodness! Look at him.
He's really trying his best.
There's like the Hunted cycle. These are the best ones here. But like Hunted Horror is a 2-mana 7/7 with trample. That's the best one. But even then, I'm paying twice as much mana for half the stats. And it's 2 colors that I'm splashing.
And the floor is giving your opponent something.
2, 3, 3. Usually these cards are giving your opponent something that beats your creature, which is really, really sad. So I looked at these and I was like, these aren't very good. There's some like the Lever and Eater of Days. I looked at champion cards. Mm-hmm. Some of those cards were pretty good. Even this Troll, but we're looking at like 4 or 5 mana. At that point, I can just play game-ending.
You can just play Barrow Boy at this point.
Why? Yeah, like why am I working so hard for a 10/10 with no abilities?
Shieldred's gonna kill him in a couple of turns anyway.
Yeah, sure, right. These were actually cards that I did add. So these I did find were like kind of redundant pieces.
Yeah.
Flage and Uro are 3 mana Titans, and they say when they enter the battlefield, sacrifice it unless they escape. So if there's no enter the battlefield triggers, this will just enter as a 6/6, and whenever it attacks, I get this huge trigger.
Right. You miss out on the Lightning Helix, but you get to keep it.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm fine with this just being a 3 mana spell, like how it normally is, where it comes out, I get the draw, I get the land. Kroxa, I'm double splashing for Kroxa, but I just needed like a 2-drop that fit this space because, spoiler, I have a lot of tutors for these cards, and I have something at 1, I have a couple at 3, and I have something at 7, so I need something for 2 for these X spells.
Right. But part of the reason you're going so deep on this is, like you said, because there isn't the redundancy in the card pool of Magic.
Exactly.
There is no other Phyrexian Dreadnought except it's an 11/11 cards.
And Null Drifter has a cool effect where it has Evoke. You can pay 3 mana for a 4/4 Flying Annihilator 1 that draws you 2 cards, and then if you're able to stifle that effect, it stays there, and that's pretty great, to be honest. So I kind of like put it on the graph, and I can say,
Yeah.
okay, like Phyrexian Dreadnought, king. These other two Titans, kings, right?
Yeah.
And then
Short
Null
kings.
Drifter's all right. Croxum kind of like have to argue for, and then these other three, like,
What are we doing?
I don't want to put Eater of Days in my deck. I'm sorry, I just don't want to do it. And this type of like redundancy means I have to go to tutors
Mm-hmm.
to fill in this gap.
Right.
So there's a lot of like X green greens tutors that find a creature with CMC X. Well, if our CMC is 1, like we're really happy with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them come with like extra text, right? Having this battle out is not nothing. Being able to harmonize for 4 and X is not nothing,
Yeah.
right? So, but I can kind of look at these cards and say these cards are 1 green green, 12/12 trample.
Yeah.
Which is something I can compare to, right? Starfield Shepherd is a 2-mana one that gets a 1-drop. I'll do these 2-mana cards. I can turn all these cards into, like these. if you would, entertain this, like this is what this card is basically,
Yeah.
right? They have more text on it. They could go for X = 2 or X = 3 and do more. But this is kind of how I'm viewing them.
Tag yourself. I'm 1 in a white. Skip your draw step.
Yeah. And I can compare them to my alternatives. So like, would I rather have 2 and a white for a Phyrexian Dreadnought, or would I rather have a 1 blue 4/6 unblockable? And like that's a comparison I can look at. And there's some extra context to this. Like I have to tutor my library, which is negative against certain cards,
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they have a counter spell that specifically targets instant or sorcery spells, which is better against but this is kind of how I view it when I look at these tutors. Are they worth it? Well, if I add the mana cost to the card, is it worth it? In this case, yes.
Yeah.
And this curve turns a little bit, and I gotta like fill out the curve,
Right.
the redundancy, right? The difference between one of these tutors and Phyrexian Dreadnought is still pretty high, but I'm fine with these cards, these 3-mana cards.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a really good way to look at it, though. Knowing what you're getting with your tutors,
Yeah.
and like what that means for the sake of your deck is a really good way to look at your mana curve,
Yeah.
or in this case, we're talking about consistency. Looking at what your consistency curve is, let's call it.
I think this is the first order kind of test that you should have for your tutors. And then the secondary one is the one where we talk about like flexibility.
Flexibility, yeah. The first step to any tutor is knowing what you should be getting.
Yeah.
The second step to a tutor is knowing what else you can get if the shit hits the fan.
I keep seeing like Black X mid-range decks run Demonic Tutor. And I'm like, there's no combo in the deck. Like, what are you getting? Are you getting a redundant threat? Like, it seems to me like having like a 5-mana Barragoyf is not necessarily where you want to be in this specific deck. And because you have your curve is so good. Like, all your cards are so good. Why are you running? I digress. This is all tutor propaganda is what I'm trying to get. So going back to some of the concepts that we've talked about in prior videos, I know that this deck is a little slower than the fastest decks in the format. Usually I'm getting Phyrexian Dreadnought and like turn 3 is pretty consistent. Sometimes I high roll 2, sometimes I low roll like 4, but I'm getting it about turn 3, and I need to attack twice. So we're looking at like turn 5, turn 6 is when I'm winning the game, which is slower than red deck wins or any combo deck, right?
Right.
I have a decent amount of interaction, but with the rest of my deck, I need to kind of like move a little bit faster and a little bit more interactive. So I put a lot of like mana dorks in. So mana accelerants allowed me to get Phyrexian Dreadnought a turn faster, which helps me with that speed metric. Lightning Greaves we'll talk about later, but
what's that doing there?
Well, don't worry about it. It allows me to attack the turn I play it, which speeds up my clock by a whole turn in a Goldfish.
In an aggressive combo centric deck.
These are my ways of like interacting with my opponent. These cards are actually really good. Like I thought these were going to be like D tier, like Death and Taxes cards, But I just have like one or two cards that these like interact with here. Like
Yeah.
the ones that do any permanents, like do fetch lands, they do landfall with like
Scythe
Cat
Cub.
Cub.
Mhm.
Minskin Boo never creates a boo on ETB
Yeah.
if you don't allow it to. Bright Glass Glitter Baleful Strix, Flash Hulk combo can't win with any of these cards on the
Thassa's
field.
Oracle, Atraxa.
White Plume event. So any initiative card, any Monarch card, Guide of Souls, a Johnny doesn't create his thing. Formidable Speaker never searches.
And you'll note in this collection of cards that you have up here, a lot of these cards are core combos.
Yeah.
Or like the best aggro card right now.
Or
like
mid-range guard. Yeah. Like
Pyrogoyf.
any of these elementals do not do their ETB effect. Solitude is just a bad 3/2, you know?
Yeah. Subtlety, congratulations on that 4-mana 3/3 flyer, buddy.
Exactly, right? So like artifact decks artifact decks use these creature tutors all the time with like Trinket Mage and yeah. Anyway, this was very, very good. One of them do artifacts and like people would be like, oh, my One Ring trigger doesn't work. It like
I, as someone who played against this deck, I didn't know you were doing this little presentation on it, but this was a little while ago when I played against this deck. The amount of times I played as Oath and realized I just couldn't do anything with Atraxa, or played even as like an aggro deck and was realizing I just couldn't kill the threat. Like a very common thought I had was, oh, I can Pyrogoyf you to get rid of this resilient card.
Nope.
And then you realize, actually, no, you can't. You need a lightning bolt if you want to be killing these.
With how we're seeing most cards getting moved into like mid-range creature interaction, like it's just surprising how much removal is attached to a creature.
Yeah. The mana war-ification.
Yeah.
The creature spellification. This is a great way to fight back.
Eternal Witness Spellseeker, that's another combo deck that just can't.
Mm-hmm.
It has to kill this thing. And if you're using interaction on this, you're not using interaction on my Phyrexian Dreadnought.
Later, when you just like slam it into play.
And these, man, Stifle's incredible. I don't know how to say this, but like countering an activator trigger ability has also never been better. Like any of those cards that we said is a triggered ability of ETB, which can also be countered with these.
I have a very toxic relationship with Stifle, which is that I love Stifle. Deep down, I've got a dark urge to stifle everything. But it is sometimes the worst counterspell you've ever played, and it just rots in your hand. And
but once you get their fetch land,
sometimes when you sinkhole them, when you counter their One Ring trigger and then kill them on the crackback, it's the only thing sweeter is the Berserk. And I can tell you, you used to be able to play both of those in the same deck at some point.
Some other stuff like Urza's Saga search trigger, you can counter any of the like channel lands where people think is uncounterable. You can Miracle. I've countered the Miracle ability so many times, and it feels great because it's almost like a 1-for-1 because they have these dumb cards in their hand that are 6 or 7 mana and they don't do anything.
Yeah. Countering a planeswalker and then just killing the planeswalker, so good, so sweet. They still do get the loyalty. Yeah. But that don't matter if you're swinging for 12.
And a lot of these cards, like the creatures with activated abilities, usually sack something. So like Dante Voidwalker, you tap to cast something and you just counter the ability, and it's basically been a 1-mana removal spell. Broadside's the same way. They like, oh, I have lethal. Broadside, attack, sack this for lethal, and then you counter that sack ability, and they're like, oh, my board looks awful now, you know? That feels great. So yeah, so like I have some, like the interaction's like oddly good, but it's like attacks in a really weird way.
Right. You gotta know when and where to point them.
Yeah. But I need more. So like going back to like the package video that we did, like I have all these tutors, so I might as well like add these packages in to attack certain decks that I'm not very good at. Mm-hmm. And 3 of the cards I added were just like, I knew that like artifact decks are way faster than me. these like Nadu decks I needed to attack as well. And then like the reanimation decks were hard to deal with.
The
too.
graveyard synergy decks.
Yeah. So just adding these 3 cards in my deck allowed me to play, instead of this like fast Phyrexian Dreadnought deck, I am then doing like a turbo tutor to find
this kind of cradle control is what it's called in Legacy.
That's trying to like 5-for-1 my opponent basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually I'll get maybe Uro out and win that way. Another thing is like I'm already playing Urza Saga and Tezzeret to find my 1-drop Phyrexian Dreadnought. Might as well have like a 1-drop or 0-drop packages that I can find as well. So like Shadow Spear is like a shoe-in. Like sometimes they're able to overwhelm me against my Phyrexian Dreadnought, but if any of these Titans have like lifelink on it, it becomes
Flage already kind of has lifelink.
Yep.
But when you get to gain 9 life, or even more, I guess 7 plus
12
10,
life.
10, right?
It's a 6/6. And then it hits for 3 and then gains 3. So it's 9 plus 3.
No, it would be 7, right?
Or 7 plus.
Yeah. 10. Anyway.
It's 13. You gain 13 life.
You gain a lot and you kill them very quick.
Yeah. And then Mox Emerald, you know, I'm already playing these Moxes as well. And then Shuko, forget about they don't think about that. But like Shuko's another card that I could tutor as well.
Wait, what was that one?
So the other package I have.
No.
I'm already playing Lightning Greaves. I'm already playing Sylvan Safekeeper because I gotta protect the president.
Mm-hmm.
Shuko became like a pretty easy extra card, and then another green card that exists is Nadu, right? And this is my entire Nadu package. I'm not doing like Nadu combo, a bunch of mana doors.
You're not playing the Nintuko.
No, all these cards are, except for Shuko, good in the deck alone, and I had the extra point to give anyway. But this can be another alternative. I really like having like a secondary plan, a tertiary plan, you know, and then like a
the
Hail
squeeze.
Mary. Yeah.
We'll have to talk about my love of the squeeze later.
Yeah, and what's cool is like all of these like interactive like cards that I have are really low mana. So like they really like the Nadu, like drawing a bunch of cards, putting a bunch of lands out. All of a sudden now I'm randomly throwing out these stifle effects on things that don't matter, you know.
Right. You're allowed to kind of like burn that card advantage to just kill them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nadu's also just fine to play as a 3-drop that kind of
3 mana, 3/4 flyer.
draws me a card if you try to attack my combo.
Mm-hmm.
Combo. Another way that I looked at this is like there's like a meta game that goes on, right? Where we have meta, jank, counterplay. We've talked about this previously.
This was, in fact, I think the first time you discussed this idea with me was this deck specifically.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So one of the ways we also can look at is like what decks beat us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So removal spells beat us, right? Like if I tutor for my Phyrexian Dreadnought, and in response you kill my 2/2 that was supposed to prevent the ETB from happening, right? You've 2-for-1'd me, right? And all my cards have fallen apart. If I put all my eggs into this Phyrexian Dreadnought and then you fatal push it, I'm kind of left stranded, right? So protection was really big. Mother of Runes, Giver of Runes, Self and Safekeeper, these are huge cards to do it. All these cards that phase things out also are like protection spells.
In a way, yeah.
Quick reflexes, hit something for 12 is love to see it. And then Gitexian Probe was another card that's like, what I do very depends on what my opponent has, right?
Mm.
I get to kind of see what you have, see if it's good for me to go or not.
Better the enemy I know than the enemy I don't.
Exactly. And then Voice of Victory and Teferi are ways of like
are messed up magic cards.
Let me just do this. Let me do this so I can
yeah.
I can get it.
Let me have my fun.
Exactly. And then I needed a couple cards for like counter spells, and like what cards beat me. They're 1 mana removal spells, right? So Mental Misstep's really good.
Mental Misstep, its stock value is going up, up, up. There are just so many good 1-drops.
As curve goes down.
Yeah. Mental Misstep, bye, bye, bye.
And then the creature spells that are going to interact with me, I already have answers for with my stifles and my no ETB effects. Yeah. So like my counter spells are focused towards non-creature spells.
You also have the Construct effect, let's call it, where you just have the biggest idiot in play, And so every other creature looks a little worse in comparison.
Oh, you think you have the idiot? I have the idiot.
I'm the biggest boy.
So this is my Hail Mary, I guess. I want to say. So like a lot of times I will tutor for a 3-drop and put it out into play, and then they'll like interact or move, do something like that. I need something that just says by itself can win the game. It can't have an ETB effect because that'll be a non-bow with my cards. And Hornoculus is the way to do it. Another thing a Hornoculus does is if you manifest dread any of these dumb huge creatures and you attack and you don't block my 2/2,
Uh-oh.
it's a 12/12.
It's a 12/12.
It's a 6/6.
I will say, almost a decade ago now, this Phyrexian Dreadnought deck in Canadian Highlander was playing a card from the dark called Illusionary Mask.
Okay.
Might not be from the dark. 1-mana artifact has maybe the worst line of text on it ever printed. Basically, it does what a Pornoculus does, or what it was trying to do, which is lets you cheat a card into play face down, and then anytime it would do basically anything, you have to like flip it up and make sure that you like paid any cost that you like needed to pay for it. You can just do that with a 3-drop 5/5 now.
This
you don't have
deck
to, like,
was really bad. It was playing like a lot of Manifest Dead cards. Like it would like play Brainstorm, put your Dreadnought on top, and then Manifest Dread trying to get it out. And then it was a whole pony show. It was not good at all.
But the fact that you got it to work
Yeah.
is a miracle, because it used to play even worse. It used to really just dig deep into the earth for the worst, oldest cards you've ever seen.
Yeah. Mana base, also horrible. I am base green, white, blue. So I'm playing all those best cards, but I'm splashing so many different colors that I found like these lands that have for any color but pay life can be pretty good, actually. Like I started playing these in 2-color decks where we're missing a lot of dual lands for.
Right.
And I like them quite a bit. But I had to play like every fetch land and every dual land that wasn't red-black specifically. The mana base is pretty bad in this deck. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm really struggling to like get certain, like I'm trying to play both double blue, and I want to be able to unearth Flage, right? And it's not good.
You're really asking for everything the Magic lands have got for you.
Yeah. So that's Stiflenought. How to go? How to do? I was consistently 2-2. Like
there were a couple of weeks where you went 4-0.
A couple times I think I won a couple times, but that's only because of brute force. Like I kept playing that thing, and I just got the right matchups. You know?
I will say I am very jealous, because I did try to build this deck like a year and a half before you tried this.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't go well. I tried to make the Sultai version.
Yeah.
Let me just tell everyone at home, the Sultai version, also not great.
There's a lot of black cards though that like you could hard pass.
Lazav the Multifarious,
Yeah.
Likeness Looter, like you can do that similar. You were talking about shifting woodland style strategy, which is just like bin this 1-mana 12/12 and then play a creature that copies a card in a graveyard. Another good way to do it.
Right.
Not as good, I would say. But maybe there's some ways you can retool it now, because that was about 2 years ago.
Yeah. A lot of black cards have been released.
A lot of good black cards are released.
So that's like my case study on tutors versus redundancy. Like
Okay.
I prefer a lot of redundancy, like so much so that I'll play some really horrible cards to try to like not require myself to search my library.
You would rather play like every C tier card than all of the A tier cards and then the tutors for those A tier cards.
Exactly. But that's just like a style that
That's just a personal thing.
I think if you looked at this in reverse, you could say like, do I have enough tutors to find my combo piece? And then go back and say, oh, I don't, or they're too expensive, and then I look for redundant pieces. But some decks just have no redundancy. You know, like I'm sure you would love to pay 6 mana for like a Time Vault, but there just doesn't exist a second Time Vault.
I would love a 4 mana Time Vault. There's a lot of ways that you could give just the exact copy of that card, and it would work fine, but it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And that's part of the difficulty, but also fun.
Which is why that graph kind of helps, because you'll see, like, okay, you have Tolarian Academy, and then what's next?
Teleria West.
Teleria West, right? If you have an idea, a goal of your deck, a theme, where's the redundancy? Is there enough redundancy? Great. If there's not, let's look for some tutors to fill in the consistency.
Right.
Yeah. That's what I got.
I love it. This is a shout out. If you haven't attacked with a Phyrexian Dreadnought before, do it. If you haven't berserked a creature before and you're playing Canadian Highlander, do yourself a service of casting Berserk on an 8/8 and just killing someone.
Maybe I should add Berserk to this deck.
Oh,
what am I doing?
What are you doing?
Not.
You don't need to cast a Berserk on a creature that you might think you need to. Berserk will kill you.
Yeah.
But and so will Phyrexian Dreadnought. And that's all I have to say. It's good.
Well, if you're still listening, thanks for staying at the Cryptic Geek.
Thanks for staying.
It's been pleasant. It's been great.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.